Hello and welcome to the Morning After Show. My name is Joshua Reimer. I'm joined by none other than Jared Block, who is on my right. This show is presented by BetOnline AG, so thank you to our sponsors. Jared, how was Wednesday and Thursday? Because I've been off the past 2 days.
It's been a wild roller coaster of events for NBA, as always.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's weird to not have too much to talk about for football, even though obviously there are still things that need to be discussed pertaining to Super Bowl stuff. We did miss Wednesday's show, so we'll recap some of the stuff that happened on Wednesday because it was a pretty big day. I actually forgot something in the announcement or in the NFL section that we'll bring up. But yeah, it's been fairly quiet. We've had consistency from the NBA, like no short slates all week. I think a lot of that just has to do with teams getting ready for the All-Star break and kind of just compiling that. We have a lot to talk about. Everything just got announced last night. A couple surprises on the All-Star teams. We have a UFC event to preview after a week off.
Yep.
And yeah, some Super Bowl stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Lots to cover. 30-minute show like it always is on Friday, so things are going to be a little bit shorter than usual, but still plenty to cover in that 30-minute time span, so let's get to it. Kick us off with the NFL topic that you didn't write up for me.
Yeah, the thing we didn't talk about yet on any show is the Washington Commanders announcement. So, Washington football team is now Washington Commanders. They did not get a good reception of that outside of a few. I saw a few positive things, but it's been mainly negative because people like the Washington football team and they hate name changes and things like that. So,
Yeah.
similar to Cleveland Guardians, I mean, I don't know if this is going that well, but we'll see. I think people will get used to it by the time things come around here in the fall. But what was your first reaction to that? And unfortunately for them, happened to be like literally a couple hours after the Brian Flores stuff hit the NFL. So not a good
Yeah.
look for the Washington football team.
Yeah, not a good look for the Washington football team whatsoever, or Washington Commanders. I think it's kind of ridiculous that you get your own name spoiled by a helicopter that was over the stadium. That's kind of tragic that you weren't able to roll out your own name announcement and that you kind of got it reported by the media. That sucks. And then just on top of that, it feels like the boring choice, man. Like we've talked about it. We've said that Washington football team would just be a good name. Like they should have just stuck with it and it would have been solid. But the fact that they didn't, they decided to go to this Commanders. It just I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. I liked where they were at before. So yeah, Scribs even says that the Commanders are dumb, and I would tend to agree. So I don't like the Commanders that much.
Yeah, you got a shout out from Scribs 1006. He says, "Love the Niners cap. Commanders is dumb."
No.
Welcome to the show, man. Welcome to the show. Josh wears his Niners hat almost every day.
Yeah, it's either Niners or Lakers right now. Yankees don't get an even look at, don't even get on the stream because of the MLB being a mess right now. Let's talk about the other NFL stuff that was going on around the league. We found out last night that Doug Peterson got hired as the head coach of the Jaguars. We saw some players coming out and supporting him, including Trevor Lawrence, saying, "Let's get to work and welcome to Duval." What do we think of this hiring? Because I don't know how to feel about it personally.
I did not think that Doug Peterson was going to get another coaching job, and here he is.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Just feels like they are. I'm not a fan of it. I don't think that he can control the locker room. I think that something similar is going to happen in the last situation where I know it was a lot of it was a QB controversy driven, but he's a coach that I'm just not sure can handle bringing a worst to first. I think that Trevor Lawrence, if they don't turn this thing around soon, potentially busts out. I think that there's a real situation that happens, and they poured so much money into facilities and stadium and the team itself. Just doesn't. This hire does not make sense at all.
Funny that Scribs said this kind of a similar thing. So it doesn't matter. Third year T Law will be a backup. That is incredible that we've gone from talking about Trevor Lawrence to being this generational talent just last season to being some people talking about him being a backup. And I don't think they're completely off. Like, I think at the end of the day, you're only as good as your system allows you to be. And that Jaguar system is just it's been awful. It's been awful ever since he came in with Urban Meyer, and it's still even when Urban Meyer got fired, it was still bad. So I don't think Peterson is going to help this team that much. And I don't know. This is probably going to be a bottom five team next year.
I just don't see how they can keep up with the division that they're in. I know it's a little bit weaker than it has been in recent years, especially this past year, but I am not. So I don't really necessarily believe in the Peterson hire, and he won a Super Bowl, and that's what he'll always have on his resume, and that's fantastic. But if you remember, he made a lot of questionable decisions that eventually ended up getting him fired, and I just think that again, yes, he is. Would you say he is more NFL ready than Urban Meyer? Because I would have to agree with that being a yes, because he's won
Definitely.
at the highest level. But you still have this issue of like who's calling the plays, what's the rest of the coaching staff going to look like? Are they NFL caliber? And I don't know. I really don't know. And then you have a roster that you really can't do much with right now.
Yeah.
I'm
I
really not sure how it's going to go.
I'm really curious to see what the rest of the staff looks like who gets hired as OC, who gets hired as DC, so on and so forth. Because I think what the rest of the staff looks like really determines uh, how good this coaching change will be, or how bad this coaching change could be. We also got the news that Mattress Mac placed $4.5 million bet on the Bengals for the Super Bowl. For those who don't know, he kind of just hedges himself out. He doesn't win or lose. He
Yep.
places these big bets. It's great media, but he hedges himself out by giving away free mattresses if the other side wins. Or no, if the Bengals win, whatever. You get my point. He hedges himself out essentially. Um, but the fact that he placed on the Bengals, does that say anything to you?
No, but I mean, there was an interview that was given in the past week, and he said he's on a 4-game losing streak at the moment.
Oof.
He bet the Astros to win the World Series. That
Yeah.
lost. He bet Alabama to win the national championship. That lost. I believe he bet the Bills a couple weeks ago, and now he's making this bet. So good luck, sir. It's you could be down pretty bad. I think the total was like something around $20 million or something like that he's lost over the past month and a half, 2 months.
Oh, yikes. I don't know if you saw this, but there's this thing going on around. It's not just around TikTok, it's around everywhere. Do you know who Tim the Tap Man is?
Yeah, he's like the biggest Twitch streamer.
Yeah, he's a huge Twitch streamer and everything. He's been doing his guesses for certain games. And I think it all started at the beginning of the playoffs when he guessed that the Cowboys would win against the Niners. He has gone on to lose 7 straight games, and he said that the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. So I don't know.
Oh,
I mean, like, when you're running that cold, you got to keep running cold. And I know a lot of people are joking and saying to go bet the house on the Bengals now.
that sounds a lot like my NHL streak right now.
It does. It does. It sounds pretty close.
But yeah, no, I'm continuing to see a lot of money on the Rams, despite the public and country's perception of wanting the Bengals to win so bad.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what the final numbers look like. I don't think you don't get a good idea of things this week. It's I feel like it's kind of edged towards sharp betters. The people who want to bet on the Super Bowl, who are more of a casual fan, aren't going to bet until next week, probably late next week as well. So when those final numbers come in, I'm going to be very curious to see what side people are leaning on, and then also how does this look compared to recent Super Bowls as well. I'd be curious to see those numbers. Anyway, let's talk about the Brian Flores comments. You can kick this one off.
Yeah, obviously this is a couple days old now, but we wanted to cover it again since we weren't doing anything on Wednesday. But basically, this has turned into a multiple-sided thing. On Wednesday, Brian Flores sued the NFL as well as the Dolphins. There have been reports that the Dolphins owner had urged him and bribed him with $100,000 per loss to tank. And he did not accept that, and he brought that forward. There was also some allegations around the Bill Belichick text messages. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah.
And the New York Giants hiring the wrong Brian kind of thing. It's a shit show. It's a mess. It's a really, really bad look for the NFL. And Brian Flores, I think, chose to go out. And this is unfortunate because I think he's going to take the same type of path that Colin Kaepernick did. And I don't want
Yeah.
to get too political on that stance, but it's very similar. He could have taken the Texans' job or somewhere else. I think there was two opening positions still left at the time, and he wasn't going to go back to the Dolphins, obviously. So, again, don't want to get too political, but we have to cover it because we are a sports show. And we'll see how this pans out. I don't think that he's going to win a case in court, just given the amount of money that some of these teams and ownership groups have. But he's basically putting his career on the line to stand up for something that was obviously wrong.
Yeah. So isn't he still potentially getting hired by the Texans? I thought yesterday I saw the
I
report
mean,
come.
do the text. So I've seen other things that have said if it would be in Houston's best interest to hire Brian Flores to kind of, first of all, it's a good PR move for them. People forget about Deshaun Watson and they get this whole like, yeah, if you don't want to hire him, we will because we know we're doing the right thing kind of thing. And it's just a bad look from the Dolphins organization. It's a bad look from literally everywhere. And I don't know when this Rooney Rule's ever. It was even adjusted this year, and it's still like people found a way to mess it up. So it's just I don't know. Maybe he gets hired by the Texans. It would be a good PR move, like I said, for them. It would also be a great coaching fit for them as well. So we'll see how that shakes out. The Peterson thing plays into this because it's like, wow. I mean, like you
Yeah.
got a guy that was fired who obviously Brian Flores is the better coach out of the two of them, right?
Yeah.
And he gets the job over. Like, not saying that Brian was interested in going to the Jaguars, but it's just the optical look of everything, right? So the NFL's, outside of the Super Bowl being next week, it's not been a great week of PR from the NFL right now.
No, no, not at all. I mean, I agree with you. Bad luck with the whole Brian Flores lawsuit for the NFL. I I like the sad thing is like, do you see any change coming out of this? Because I feel like you might see something, but it might be superficial at the end of the day from the NFL.
Agreed. I agree. Scripps says Bengals over Rams. He also says who faced the tougher opponent in the championship round. Uh,
The Rams
that's a great
did.
question. Yeah, I think. Well, I
No,
mean,
I'm
we've been
kidding.
yeah, it's actually a tough question, but
Yeah.
I would have to side with the Chiefs being the tougher opponent. But
Eh.
KB Pitt says not a political statement, but at what point does the NFL stop printing and racism on the field? I mean, it's kind of useless now, right?
Well, I mean,
Like,
it's just like
after the
the they have like logo stickers on the back of their helmets that say "end racism," and I saw a joke on Twitter saying that the NFL's response to this is just to make bigger stickers for the helmets that say "end racism," and it's
well,
just like
yikes.
it's just a bad like because that's all they've done. Like they haven't really taken any steps forward, and it's disappointing to see at the very least. So,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, it's bad.
You're going, yeah, the whole things on the jerseys and the helmets in the field completely gets evaporated when the Brian Flores stuff happens this week.
Yeah. And I mean, it's really funny. I think those Bill Belichick texts are freaking hilarious that Bill Belichick messed that up. But I mean, if Bill Belichick doesn't mess up that text and doesn't send it to the wrong Brian, this isn't even reported as an issue this year. Um, but it is because it kind of all stems from Bill Belichick, which is really interesting to see his name in the headlines.
Yeah, I mean, there's also I know Kai was making some funny comments about him possibly doing it on purpose to get back at Flores, and that was also during the time where
Yeah.
Tom Brady hadn't made his announcement to the Patriots, which again we talked about this on Tuesday. Of course, he was going to thank the Patriots. He just did it, or maybe he
Hey, no,
saw
I
maybe
think
he
he
saw
saw the outlash and then he
and
was
he
like,
was
"All
like,
right, I guess I gotta now."
no, I think that they're both smarter. I think Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are both smart enough to figure these things out.
Yeah, most likely they are. All right, last thing that we're gonna do for the NFL, announce some of the Super Bowl events we have going on. There's a lot of fun stuff going on this next week, and I couldn't be more pumped up to talk about it.
Yeah. So I can't give everything away right now, but I can say a few things. First, we did post an event in the Discord, one of many, one of a lot, and it is the Super Bowl Squares contest that's being released on Monday. So we are doing that. We have several things that we plan to announce every single day of next week, at least 1 to 2 announcements per day, starting on Monday. Uh, we plan on celebrating the whole entire week with you guys in regards to the Super Bowl. So we're pumped about it. A lot of prizes to be given away. Cash, RR Bucks, memberships, merchandise, all these kinds of things. So we're happy for it, and you guys are gonna see this isn't just like a normal week for us, and this is something that we've actually never done on many levels. And then even in addition to that, we have a UFC pay-per-view on Saturday that we'll talk about as well, that we're going to do a watch party next week, right the day before the Super Bowl. So it's going to be awesome times, and I'm pumped for it because a lot of effort and planning went into this, and it's going to be great to see how it all plays out next week.
Yeah, we spent several hours in meetings just talking about planning this, getting the logistics right for it, trying to do something that's gonna make the community excited. And I think we've completed that. We have a lot of things planned up, so I'm excited. I know you are, and can't wait to see what the community does with next week because it's gonna be a good time. All right, anything else for the NFL? If not, let's talk about NBA last night.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I just moving some things over here. Wednesday was interesting. I know that you jumped on for some of it, so you kind of knew
Yeah.
some of what was going on. My night specifically in GPPs was over on the first play of the slate, so I got to kind of enjoy the rest of my night and not sweat because Isaiah Jackson rolled his ankle on the first possession of the game and never came back. So that was when you get a zero in GPPs, you're pretty much screwed. So that was my scenario that day. The Nuggets and Jazz game was, I think I mean, I nailed it pretty well. Like I had Will Barton the whole night. I wish that he would have done more with the stuff that he was given because no Joker, no Cousins, no Aaron Gordon. We're going to start to see a lot of these teams just sitting players on purpose because either they're banged up or they're in a comfortable spot in standings, or just trying to make it through the second half of the season healthy. So the NBA trade deadline's next week. The All-Star game is in less than a week and a half. So, yeah, we're going to see a lot of crazy scenarios like that. Probably not today, but definitely coming into next week, we're going to see a lot of that stuff start to play out. We did see the Clippers edge out the Lakers by 1 point last night. The Hawks beat the Suns. It was a crazy turn of events in both of those games. And we also got a Raptors win over the Bulls in OT. Everything else pretty average there. We had huge. DeJounte Murray missed for the Spurs, and so did Jakob Poeltl, so the entire team was chalk. And then we also saw a few injuries for the Timberwolves and Pistons games. Are you surprised? I know you probably haven't looked at this, but Karl Anthony Towns, one was we got him at under 20% against the Detroit Pistons without D'Angelo Russell, but he didn't really do much, and he actually failed and busted in that spot. 21, 14, and 4 sounds like a lot, but it was not enough. Last night he actually fell short by like 10 FanDuel points, so that was annoying. But Sean did get the win off of a 50 FanDuel point night from Sadiq Bey, who was also 20% around that in cash, if I remember correctly, and that was because Cade Cunningham got ruled out. So,
Okay.
um, yeah, so that was the reason for that, and nobody really went there. They went to Jeremy Grant instead. But yeah, just keep an eye on some trade stuff. I nailed the Kings take. De'Aaron Fox is probably going to be traded in the next week, if not next couple days, from what I've been seeing. So
hmm
lots of Kings talks about this mega like multi-team deal. I don't know if you've seen the rumors around that.
No, I haven't really seen the rumors around that. I mean, I know they've been wanting to trade pieces, right? Oh man, I just saw something sad in the chat. But back to this. I know they've been wanting to trade De'Aaron Fox. I know they've been wanting to trade Harrison Barnes. Rashawn Holmes has been on trade talks. Buddy Hield has been on trade talks. So it makes sense to send these guys to multiple teams and potentially get back a really big asset. I'm just curious what that asset would look like for this Kings team.
The one yesterday that I saw didn't make sense, but it also was reported that it was gaining the most traction. The New Orleans Pelicans are interested in a
So
dominant guard, is what
yeah.
their quotations was. So they're interested in De'Aaron Fox, and that would be a multi-team deal. I don't know if how the Kings are just going to probably get worse out of all of this. I think that's probably the answer here. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And again, Tyrese Halliburton continues to fail in spots with De'Aaron Fox missing. So finished with 10, 6, and 6, and that's just not going to get the job done. against the Golden State Warriors of all teams.
Yeah, definitely not going to get the job done. All right. Anything else for the recaps of yesterday or the day before? If not, let's talk about the All Star pool because this is what I'm excited about.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm actually going to pull this up. I saw the pool last night because I texted some buddies. Really wasn't sure or still think that this is like a thing that I don't know, but Chris Middleton continues to make the playoffs, or not the playoffs. Chris Middleton continues to make the All Star teams. Um, I guess like maybe I know I'm biased towards the Bucks, but I mean, is this actually right? Do you think that he deserves that?
I think so at the end of the day. I mean, this is a, I don't know. Who else would you say instead of Chris Middleton deserved that spot?
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. I mean, he out of all the Bucks, he's been the one guy that's been a pretty consistent player,
Yeah.
with all the injuries and COVID stuff that they've gone through. So I don't know. I mean, like once you're an all-star, it's very hard to make cases that you're not anymore, right? Unless I mean
Yeah.
starter like not counting starters. Like if you're making the all-star game consistently, I believe this is his third time. So like you have
Yep.
to make it's more about why are you not it's like more about why are you not an all-star versus what have you done.
Hmm.
So you're going to start to see that for other guys. I mean, Jaylen Brown was snubbed. I mean, do you think that Chris Middleton is better than Jaylen Brown this year?
Oh man, that's close. I don't know. That's they're very similar in how they play. I would say probably that Chris Middleton deserves that spot because his team is winning more. But I mean, Jalen Brown's right behind him, probably.
Yeah. So he's probably going to get a
Mhm.
spot just given somebody's injury.
Yeah.
Like I know. So we'll just start with this. The NBA All-Star reserves are Jimmy Butler, Darius Garland, which you love to see, James Harden, Zach LaVine, Chris Middleton, Jason Tatum, and Fred Van Vliet. The 2022 NBA West All-Star reserves are Devin Booker, Luca, Rudy Gobert, Draymond Green, who's most likely going to miss, Donovan Mitchell, Chris Paul, and Cat. So I mean, you can make cases for all of them. You're going to get a sub for Draymond Green. They've already announced that he's not going to play in the All-Star game. And I don't know. I mean, like everybody else on the East, I mean, like the surprise, I guess, is probably Darius Garland. And you're always going to have these guys that are going to get snubbed. And uh, I thought it was entertaining that Tyler Hero made a statement saying that um, people are calling him a snub, and that he said that he never really expected it anyway because the NBA is quote unquote rigged.
Ah, yeah, nice. No, it's not rigged. You didn't deserve a spot. You were the most inconsistent player in the league this year. Gosh, Tyler Hero has been making me kind of mad recently. Regardless, he didn't deserve it. He is not better than any one of these guys that are reserve roles. Like I don't even think he's better than Chris Middleton at the end of the day.
I mean, I think that the guy that's lowest on the list is Darius Garland.
I don't think he's better than Darius Garland. That's for sure. I mean, Garland's had a
Yeah,
spectacular year. I mean, the
yeah,
fact
he
that
deserves it.
I don't know. I think it's kind of silly for Tyler Hero to say that. I think this is a good group. I don't think there's many people wrong. I think obviously we can always go back to Wiggins and say like, yeah, probably Wiggins didn't deserve this spot. Um, I mean, especially when you look at Devin Booker and Luca right there, like one of those two probably should have gotten that Andrew Wiggins spot.
Yeah, agreed. Let's see here. I'm just trying to look at some reserve stuff. There's some stuff. There's some votes for Jared Allen. There's some. Oh, I guess Lamelo did. Yeah, Lamelo didn't make the All Star team. Um, there is some Tyler Hero in here. I'm going off of inside the NBA votes, and Sabonis did not make anything either. And then on the West side, there's some stuff about Jaren Jackson. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. But I would say that the Garland thing is a little bit out of left field, but he definitely deserved it given where Cleveland's record is and the fact that they lost two very key players in the guard rotation. So I mean, he's basically helping keep that team alive. Are you? I mean, front court in the East is so tough. I mean, at what point would Evan Mobley make the list?
Oh, probably. I mean, you would need to have multiple of these reserves sit, and we know that KD is not, or is KD going to play in the All Star game? I thought that
I
he
would
wasn't.
lean I would lean towards no, but he doesn't really matter because he's one of the coach or one of the lead guys,
Gotcha. Okay.
or
Yeah,
he's
I
the
don't.
lead guy for the East.
Uh huh. Yeah. Um. Yeah, I think it would be a while before Evan Mobley got into these conversations. I don't know. He's not there quite yet. He might be there next year. Might be there the year after. I think he's kind of on that trajectory to be an All Star for sure. It definitely isn't this year.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about the Rising Stars roster here. I just had it and then I lost it, but I saw that there was a couple of Rockets. Here we go. The Rising Stars for the rookies: Franz Wagner, Scotty Barnes, Evan Mobley, Shingun, Herbert Jones, Davion Mitchell, Cade Cunningham, Chris Duarte, Josh Giddey, DeSunmu, Jalen Green, Jalen Suggs. So a few Thunder players, a few Rockets players. And then on the sophomore side of things, we have Precious Achua, Cole Anthony, LaMelo Ball, Desmond Bain, Sadiq Bey, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Tyrese Maxey, Jaden McDaniels, Isaac Okoro, Isaiah Stewart, and Jayshawn Tate. So anything stick out to you here? Seeing a lot of Wolves and Rockets in this on these lists.
Hey, the four guys that you didn't say that were in this Rising Stars game, the G League Ignite players got invited to this one. So we have
Oh, nice.
Marjan Beauchamp, I don't know, Dyson Daniels, Jaden Hardy, and Scoot Henderson as well, all on one of these teams. They're going to get drafted to one of these teams. And I don't know. Did the NBA do this last year? I don't think they did, but I think this is exciting.
I don't think they did either, but I don't
Yeah.
really pay attention to this much.
Neither do I. But I mean, that's cool that these four guys we kind of get a first look at all of them to see if they're anywhere near NBA adequate. And, this would be like getting a first look at Jalen Green last year. So it's going to be interesting to see what these G League Ignite players can do with the big boys.
Speaking of Jalen Green, he's going to get double duty that weekend because he was invited to the dunk contest, as well as Cole Anthony, Obi Toppin, and JTA. So they're going to be the four dunk contest participants this year. Seems like they're going a lot younger with these players, and I'm not sure how to feel about it.
I don't know, man. Listen, this group of guys is not exactly what I had in mind when I thought of the dunk contest this
That's
year. But
yeah.
like that's what it is every year now. Like every year we look at the contestant, it's like, well, this is disappointing compared to some of the biggest dunkers we have in the league. But I mean, like it just you have such a chance at injury. I don't think we'll ever see a star player do the dunk contest ever again.
Well, right, and you also have the current existing guys that have been in it are they're injured this year. Derek Jones is hurt. You have Aaron Gordon is hurt. Um, I don't know. I feel like the Pat Connaughton experiment was a one and done. So I don't know. I'm excited to see Cole Anthony stuff. I mean, Obi Toppin, sure. I, I don't know. I mean, did you expect Jalen Green in the dunk contest? Because I certainly didn't.
I did not, but that definitely put a smile on my face, considering how much shit talk I've had around Jalen Green all year long, calling him a bust. So, very interesting to have him there. I mean, like, if I wanted one guy to win, if you had one guy that you wanted to win it, who would it be for you? Because for me, I think it's Cole Anthony or Obi Toppin. I can't decide.
I mean, I would love. I don't know. I think out of all of them, the one guy that you wouldn't expect to win would probably be Cole Anthony.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. So, I don't know. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be sucky like it has been in a few recent years past. But it's certainly going to be interesting to watch this dunk contest. I'm more excited for the other events around it. It should be interesting. All right. Anything else for the NBA? If not, we have a quick UFC preview to do, and then we can get to our NHL blind dogs.
Nope. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's talk about the UFC and everything it has in store. Main fight is going to be Hermansen versus Strickland. We saw. Did you see the comments that Sean Strickland made the other day in his press conference?
No.
Man, dudes, I don't want to say anything on air, so I encourage you all to go watch what Sean Strickland said because he is one wacky dude. I think the guy might have been hit in the head one too many times over his mixed martial arts career. This should be a good fight, though. This is a step up for Strickland. This is a spot where Hermansen is kind of taking a step down because he hasn't been fighting at his full capacity. Kind of got beat by Marvin Vettori. We know he had the win against Edmund Shabazian, but I don't know. I don't know how much I count that win. We know that he lost to Khamzat Shemaev in a wrestling match that the both of them had recently, and lost badly in that one too. So should be interesting to see what him and Sean Strickland are able to do. But this card is filled with good fights all the way around. I'm assuming you're looking up some of those quotes by Sean Strickland, and
Yeah.
that's why you're laughing. Yeah, he's an interesting character. But Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Carlston Harris is going to be one of the best fights of the weekend and possibly one of the best fights of the month. Sam Alvey versus Brendan Allen. We all love to watch Sam Alvey. Brendan Allen has been a beast at the UFC level. Brian Battle versus Tresean Gore. This goes all the way back to the Ultimate Fighter that we had in the middleweights. Tresean Gore was supposed to fight Brian Battle in the finals, and instead Tresean Gore tore his MCL or did something where he got injured in training. So we're going to see him return and try to take back the Ultimate Fighter crown. Not really. He can't really take it back because Brian Battle has already crowned that. But, just in name and just in bragging rights, he's going to take that back possibly. And then you have some good fights coming down. We got Hakeem Dawodu, who's a big fighter up north. I don't think Vaughn would know about him, but he's one of Canada's main prospects. And then a few other good fights as you go down the card. This is going to be a good one, man. I'm excited. This is one of those prime fights or one of those prime UFC cards where not a lot of people know these guys' names, but we do because we've already done the film study and we've already done a lot of research on these guys already. So I'm pretty excited to see what this fight card is going to hold.
Yeah, the one thing that I noticed that stood out was that there are 6 main card fights.
Yeah.
So that's a lot bigger than normal. Usually they're 5 at the very, very most.
Yeah. I don't know if Julian Erosa and Stephen Ocho Peterson deserve to be on there, but it's on there anyway, and it should be an interesting main card fight to say the least. Yeah, it's going to be a good week. I'm excited. I'm more excited about next week, obviously, with Adesanya and Whitaker, and the fact that we get to cover that live on the air. But this one should be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it definitely should. We can't do blind dogs because we're idiots, and it's the NHL All-Star break. So
It is.
we can talk about something else because this is awkward now.
Yeah, I realized that as I said blind dogs, and I was like, wait a minute. I saw something in employee chat or someone said it was the NHL All-Star break and that there wasn't going to be any games. So I don't know. Do we want to do? I don't know what we want to do here. Do we want to make a basketball bet? I mean, it sounds ugly to make a basketball bet, but that
I
might be
guess
where
we
we have to
should.
lean.
I guess we should. All right. Okay. Lots of favorites here. Oh, there's some close games, but the close games I don't trust whatsoever. By the way, did you see that the San Antonio Spurs game? They've been experiencing that they had the weather thing that was last night, so they actually did have like freezing temperatures that moved the game up because they were worried about frozen roads and power lines and stuff like that. So keep an eye on that game today. I wouldn't bet the Rockets money line anyway as an underdog. So give me. Oh, I like this one. I think this is contrarian. Give me the Cleveland Cavs plus 165.
Nice. I like it. I'm always a fan of betting on the Cavs, and especially against the Hornets. I can definitely buy into it. Give me, it's a small underdog, but give me the 76ers. I think that game against the Mavericks had against the Thunder spoke volumes about where this team is heading. The fact that you can't win against the Thunder, especially after a Luka 40-point performance, is concerning to say the least.
Yep.
So I think Joel Embiid's going to have his way with that interior, and it should be a good one. All right.
Yeah.
Last thing that I need to talk about because I keep getting taunted in the chat about it from Bacon. Go Duke, and that's it. That's all I have to say. Go Duke, and that's all I need.
I'm just looking at the odds for this game because it is tomorrow, right?
Yes, it is tomorrow.
It's not up yet. But yeah, I would have guessed that they are pretty handily decent favorites in that spot. So we'll see how it goes. Is it more of a do you think what's the chance that North Carolina can actually outright win?
Oh, I mean, like it's never
Do they always have
impossible.
yeah, puncher's chance always? Yeah. Okay.
Especially it's in UNC too, so like it's like I don't know. Whenever we're at UNC, it's especially it's a little bit even more than a puncher's chance, I would say, even with the Duke team being ranked and UNC not being ranked. But I still lean Duke. I always lean Duke, so it's going to be a fun game to watch for sure.
Fair enough.
I really hope they sweep for Coach K. I mean, there would be no better way to send Coach K out, except for like a Finals Four appearance, than to sweep this UNC team and maybe even win against them 3 times in the ACC championship. But we'll have to see what happens there. All right, that is the end of the show. Jared, any final notes before we get out of here?
Yeah, just keep an eye on the Discord over the next couple days here. We're going to be starting adding events to the calendar for Super Bowl week, and we have a lot of stuff planned. Oh, also a special announcement coming. I don't know, the next 4+ hours. It's a good one. You're going to like it a lot.
Yeah, I forgot about this almost. Yeah, very very special announcement. Something that we've been working on the back end that is really really exciting. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. And yeah, let's get out of here. As always, my name is Joshua Reimer. Good morning and good skill.